Hello and welcome to my walkthrough of the Pearson Edexcel May 2023 GCSE Mathematics paper 1 non-calculator higher tier. Let's get right on into it. So question 1. Work out 8.46 divided by 0.15. So 8.46 divided by 0.15 would be the same as dividing by 15 over 100 if it was a fraction. And if you're dividing by a fraction, you can multiply by the reciprocal of that fraction, and it would be doing the same thing. So 8.46 times 100 divided by 15. This would be the same as saying 846 divided by 15. We'll use the bus shelter method to work that out. So 15s into 8 do not go, with 8 remainder. 15s into 84 go 5 times, as 5 15s are 75, with 9 remainder. And 15s into 96 goes 6 times, as 6 times 15 is 90, with 6 remainder. So our answer will be 56 and 6 over 15. But since the question is in decimals, we're going to answer in decimals. So we just have to convert 6 out of 15 into a decimal. This would be the same as 2 over 5 by dividing the top and bottom by 3, which is the same as 0.4. So our answer is 56.4. Question 2. 7 and 3/8 minus 2 1/2. Give your answer as a mixed number. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make two top-heavy fractions and then give them a common denominator, and then we can subtract one from the other. So 7 and 3/8 is the same as saying 56 over 8 and 3/8, as 7 times 8 is 56, which would be 59 over 8. And then 2 1/2 would be the same as saying 4 over 2 plus 1/2, which is, that should be an equal sign there. That's going to be too big. Is going to be 5 over 2. 5 over 2 is going to be 20 over 8 if we times the top and the bottom by 4. So we've now got our equation is 59 over 8 minus 20 over 8, which is 39 over 8. But the question wants us to present this as a mixed number, which is going to be 4 and 7/8, as 8 times 4 is 32. So 4 and 7/8. Question 3. A cube has a total surface area of 150 centimeters squared. Work out the volume of the cube. So if we draw a quick cube here. Apologies in advance for this drawing. Maybe something like this. And we know that a cube has 6 sides. So I'm going to say cube has 6 sides. So surface area equals 6a, where a is the area of one side. So 150 equals 6a. Therefore, a is going to be 150 divided by 6. So the area of one side is 25. So since it's a cube, we know that each side is a square with the same length sides. And if we know the area is 25, then each side must be 5 centimeters. So each side length 5 centimeters, and volume of a cube is going to be the height times the width times the depth, which is going to be 5 times 5 times 5, which is going to be 125 centimeters cubed. Question 4. The table shows information about the daily rainfall in a town for 60 days. draw a frequency polygon for this information. So the key to doing this is just making sure that we plot the points at the midpoints of each of the rainfall sections. So that'll be 2.5, 7.5, 12.5, 17.5, and 22.5. So I've just marked those on the graph at the bottom here. And as you can see, the frequency, each square on the y-axis is going up by 1 because 10 squares attribute to 10 frequency. So for this 2.5, we need to cross off just here to mark for 8. 7.5, we're going to mark off up here for 24. And then 12.5, we're going to mark at 13, just here. 17.5, we're going to mark at 11, just here. And 22.5, we will mark at 4. And then we'll draw a nice frequency polygon to represent the graph. That's us done. Question number 5. We have a set of numbers. A is odd numbers, B are square numbers. Complete the Venn diagram for this information. So I'm just going to write up the top here before I start drawing on the Venn diagram. So A is the odd numbers, so that's going to be 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. B is the square numbers, which will be 1, which is 1 times 1, 4, which is 2 times 2, and 9, which is 3 times 3. So numbers that appear in both lists are going to be 1 and 9. So I'll just write A and B here, and I'll cross these off of my list here. And then that means in circle B, we just have to put number 4. In the midpoint, we can put 1 and 9. And in circle A, we can have 3, 5, and 7. And then on the outside, we'll have everything that's left. So that'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. 2, 6, 8, and 10. Part B. A number is chosen at random from the universal set. Find the probability that this number is in the set B dash. So B dash is not B. So we have 3 numbers from this top section, 1, 4, and 9, that are in B. So since 3 numbers in B, therefore 7 in B dash. So the probability is 7 out of the 10 numbers. Question number 6. The scatter graph shows information about the ages and weights of some babies. Describe the relationship between the age and the weight of the babies. So just by looking at the graph, you can tell that as age is increasing, weight is increasing. As you can see, like, for example, if the age is 2, the weight is going to be around, here, 4. But if the age is 10, the weight is going to be around 10. So all we need to write here is as age increases, weight increases. I'll write positive correlation between the two. Another baby has a weight of 5.8 kilograms. Using the scatter graph, find an estimate for the age of this baby. So I'll start by drawing a line of best fit, just to make it a bit easier to plot, a bit wobbly at the end there. So the question's asking us, saying that the weight is 5.8 kilograms. So each square here will be 0.2 because 10 squares go between 0 and 2, so each square will be 0.2. So this here will be 5, 5.2, 5.4, 5.6, 5.8, and I'll just do a dotted line across. And my estimate is going to be about here. And similarly, each square is 0.2, which would make the weight of this that's the age of this 3.6 months. And question 7. The price of a holiday increases by 20%. This 20% increase adds £240 to the price of the holiday. Work out the price of the holiday before the increase. So, price of the holiday plus 20% equals price of the holiday plus £240. Therefore, 20% equals £240. Therefore, 100% is going to be 5 times £240, which is just £1,200. Question number 8. The diagram shows a solid cylinder on a horizontal floor, and we have a formula on the right for pressure equals force over area. We're given the volume and the height of the cylinder and the force that the cylinder exerts on the floor. Work out the pressure due to the cylinder. So, we are told pressure equals force over area. And we're told the force is 90 newtons over area. And we know that the area is going to be the volume divided by the height. And luckily, we are given the volume and the height of the cylinder. So, therefore, the area is going to equal 1200 divided by 40. Therefore, the area is going to equal 30. One thing to be mindful of here is that the units are the same for these two. The question might be crafty and try and give you meters cubed or the height in meters, but the other thing in centimeters, so you just have to make sure they're in the same units. So we know the area is 30, therefore pressure equals 90 divided by 30, which equals 3. And we've probably got the units in the answer here. Yeah, newtons per centimetre squared. So that is correct, but just be mindful that could be a way the question tries to trick you by giving you a different unit. Question 9. Use these graphs to solve the simultaneous equations 2 minus 2y equals x, 2y equals 3x minus 22. A quick check tells us that these two are the same two lines that they've drawn on the graph. And if we're solving the equations, that means it's two equations that are both true, and the only way that can happen is the crossing point of the two lines. So each square is 1 going along the x-axis, so that's going to be 6, and it's 1 going down the y-axis as well, so that's going to be minus 2. So the crossing point, which is the solution to the equations, is x being 6 and y being minus 2. Question 10. Here is a pentagon. Angle AED equals 4 times angle ABC. Work out the size of angle AED. You must show all of your working. So first thing I'm going to write down, angles in a pentagon add up to 540 degrees. So we're trying to find the angle AED, so I'm going to call this angle X. And we know, I'll write this down actually, that AED equals 4 times ABC. Therefore, if AED equals x degrees, then ABC equals x degrees over 4. So I'm going to put in here x over 4. degrees. So now we just need to add up all these things and get to 540. So, just got a little bit too low there. We're going to have 120 plus x plus 135 plus 110 plus x over 4 equals 540. Rearrange this. X lots of 1 plus a quarter equals 540 minus 120 minus 135 minus 110, which is, just do this, let's make sure I don't make an arithmetic error. 420 minus 135 minus 110, 310 minus 135, should be 175, and this is x 1 plus a quarter. So now I'll just simplify this slightly. So that's going to be the same as 5 over 4 times x equals 175. So if I divide both sides by 5 over 4, we will times both sides by 4 first. So 5x equals 4 times 175, which is going to be 400, 280, 600, 700. And then x is going to be 700 over 5, which is 140 degrees. Nearly ran out of room there, doing it off in a sideways direction. Question 11. Write this fun formula in the form ax to the b, y to the c, where a, b, and c are integers. So first thing I'm going to do is sort out both the numerator and the denominator and make it a little bit easier. So 6x to the 5, y to the 3 squared is going to be the same as, you just have to square each part because it's all one big number. So 6 squared is 36, x to the 5 squared is x to the 10, and y to the 3 squared is y to the 6. Then the denominator is going to be 3 times 4, which is 12, x squared times x, which is x cubed, and y to the 7 times y to the minus 3, where we add the powers, is going to be y to the 4. Therefore, 36x to the 10 y to the 6 over 12x cubed y to the 4 is our new equation. I'm actually just going to write here numerator, denominator, just to show the examiner that I fully know what I'm doing, not getting muddled up myself. Similarly, let's do the numbers first. 36 divided by 12 is 3. X to the 10 divided by x to the 3 is x to the 7. Y to the 6 divided by y to the 4 is y squared. So our answer is going to be 3 x to the 7 y squared. Question 12. Martha plays a game twice. The probability tree diagram shows the probabilities that Martha will win or lose each game. Find the probability that Martha will lose at least one game. So lose at least one game. So this first scenario at the top, where she wins and then she wins again, we don't want that. So then second scenario, she wins and then she loses, we do want that. She loses and then she wins, we want that, and she loses when she loses, we want that. However, this is telling me that we can either do all three of these probabilities, or we can do 1 minus the probability of win and then win, which I think is a little bit quicker than going through the other ones, since we only have one negative scenario that could happen here. So if I write this out fully for the examiner, probability of win and win, not lose at all, equals 5 times 8 times 2 times 9, which equals 10 over 72. Therefore, probability of at least one loss, scroll down, is 1 minus 10 over 72, which equals 62 over 72. Now, if you're not comfortable with doing it that way, you can always do it the long way around. And so that would be win and then lose would be 35 over 72. Lose and then win would be 6 over 72. Lose and then lose would be 21 over 72. If we add 35, 6, and 21, you're going to get 62 over 72, which is the answer we've got. Question 13. Y is directly proportional to x. Y equals 24 when x equals 1.5. Work out the value of y when x equals 5. So if y is directly proportional to x, we therefore have a number k that you can multiply by x to get to y. So if we now put in the figures from the start, we have y is 24, k multiplied by 1.5. We'll rearrange this equation to make k the subject. 24 divided by 1.5, which is the same as dividing by 3 over 2, which is the same as multiplying by 2/3. So 2/3 of 24 is 16. Therefore, when x equals 5, y equals 16 times 5. So y would equal 80. Question 14. Write 1 over 16 in the form 4 to the n, where n is an integer. So 1 over 16 is the same as 1 over 4 squared. And if you have a indice on the bottom of a fraction, you can write that the same as minus that indice. So the answer is 4 to the minus 2. Work out the value of 8 to the power 5 over 3 minus 9 to the power 3 over 2. So you can do this one of two ways. You can do the cube root of 8 and then do it to the power 5. Or you can do 8 to the power 5 cube rooted. And I'll be honest, 8 to the power 5 doing it in my head without a calculator in exam sounds unpleasant. So let's do it the easy way. So the cube root of 8 is 2, because 2 cubed is 8. And then 2 to the power 5 is just 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 4, 8, 16, 32. Similarly, the square root of 9 is 3. Just trying to think if I can do 9 to the power 3 in my head. 727, I think. 729 even. So then you'd have to try and square root that, which is, again, without a calculator, not worth doing. So it's always easier to do the root first. And then this wants us to do 3 to the power 3 afterwards. 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27. Therefore, our question is 32 minus 27, which is a considerable lot easier than the question they gave us. And the answer is 5. Question 15. The equation of line 1 is y equals 2x minus 5. The equation of line 2 is 6y plus kx minus 12 equals 0. L1 is perpendicular to L2. Find the value of k. You must show all your working. So this first equation is in the format y equals mx plus c. The second equation is not in that format, so the first thing I'm going to do is change that to that format. So I want to change this to y equals, let's say, nx plus d. So 6y plus kx minus 12 equals 0. We want y on its own, so let's take everything else onto the other side. So that would be 6y equals minus kx plus 12. Therefore, y equals minus k over 6x plus 2, which is now in the format that we want. So since oops, since L1 and L2 are perpendicular, by definition, m, oops, what's happened there? M equals minus 1 over n, by definition of perpendicular lines. So we know that m equals 2 by just looking at the first equation, and we now know that n equals minus k over 6, so we know that 2 equals minus 1 over minus k over 6. Therefore, we'll just get rid of the minus signs and we'll put the 6 on the top. 2 equals 6 over k. 2k equals 6. K equals 3. On to question 16. Here is a sphere, and we're given a formula for the surface area of the sphere. 3/8 of the surface area of the sphere is 75 pi. Find the diameter of the sphere. Give your answer in the form a square root of b, where a is an integer and b is a prime number. Oh, 4-mark question. I thought that might be a 5-mark question. So we are told that 3/8 of the surface area is 75. So if I say 3 over 8 times the surface area of the sphere, which is 4 pi r squared, equals 75 pi. First thing I'm going to do straight away is get rid of these pi's, because they're just there to confuse things. And we'll expand this out slightly to say 12 over 8 r squared equals 75. 12 over 8 is another way of saying 6 over 4, which is another way of saying 3 over 2. So let's go with 3 over 2. R squared equals 75. Therefore, 3r squared equals 150, just by timesing both sides by 2. Therefore, r squared equals 50 by dividing both sides by 3. But we don't want r squared, we want the diameter. So I'll say, therefore, r equals the square root of 50. Therefore, the diameter equals 2 times the square root of 50. Its diameter is twice the radius. We now have it in the format of a square root of b, but b needs to be a prime number. So let's rewrite this as 2 times the square root of 25 times 2, which we can then say is 2 times the square root of 25 times the square root of 2, which is 2 times 5 root 2, as the square root of 25 is 5, which is 10 root 2, which is now in the format that we want, as 2 is prime. Question 17. Make x the subject of the formula. So first things first, I'm going to times both sides of this formula by 5x plus 3. So we're going to say 5xy plus 3y. So all I've done there is done 5x times y and 3 times y equals, let's expand out this bracket at the same time, do it all in one go, 8x minus 28. We want x to be on its own, so we're going to bring all the x's onto one side and all the y's onto the other. So 5xy minus 8x equals minus 3y minus 28. Now we'll take x out of these two numbers and say this is now 5y minus 8 equals minus 3y minus 28. Now we'll divide both sides through by 5y minus 8, like so. And the final step, just for tidiness, we're going to times the top and the bottom of this by minus 1, as we've got 3 minus signs and only 1 positive sign. So that is going to be 3y plus 28 over 8 minus 5y. Like that. Question 18. 7 kilograms of carrots and 5 kilograms of tomatoes cost a total of 480 pence. The cost of 1 kilogram of carrots compared to the cost of 1 kilogram of tomatoes are on a ratio 5 to 9. Work out the cost of 1 kilogram of carrots and the cost of 1 kilogram of tomatoes. So we know that 7 times C, if C is a kilogram of carrots, plus 5 times T is 480p. And from this ratio, we also know that C divided by T is equivalent to 5 over 9. So let's say that C, if we times both sides of this by T, equals 5T over 9. We'll then put the value of C into our equation at the top. So let's do this. 7 lots of 5T over 9 plus 5T equals 480 pence. Expand this out, so we get 35T over 9 plus 5T equals 480. Now, unfortunately, 35 does not divide by 9, so what we're going to have to do is times the 5T and the 480 by 9. So I'll just do this up here quickly. 500 times 9 minus 20 times 9 would be the same as doing 480 times 9. So that's going to be 4,500. That's going to be 180. So we're going to get 4320. So our next line will be 35t plus 45t, as we're timesing that by 9, equals 4320. Therefore, 80t, by adding these two together, equals 4320. Therefore, 8t equals 432. I think 432 might actually divide by 8. It does, it will be 54. What I was going to do there was divide by 2 again, divide by 2 again. But I know that 50 times 8 is 400 and 4 times 8 is 32. So we have a value for t now. So what we're going to do is put that back into the first equation. So we'll then go up here. 7c plus 5 times 54 equals 480. 7c plus 270 equals 480. 7c equals 210, taking 270 off both sides. So C equals 30. And that's our answer. On we go. Question 19. The menu in a restaurant has starters, main courses, and desserts. 5 starters, 12 main courses, X desserts. There are 420 different ways to choose 1 starter, 1 main course, and 1 dessert. Work out the value of X. Well, that is simply going to be 420 divided by 5 divided by 12 equals X, which is the same as saying 420 divided by 60, as 5 times 12 is 60. Therefore, X equals 7. After the long questions we've just had, having a short one like that is quite a nice little break. Question 20. For x is greater than or equal to 0, the functions f and g are such that, and the formulas are shown below, find g to the minus 1 of x. So what we need to do for this is simply rearrange it. So how I would do this is I would say call g of x, y. So y equals the square root of x plus 2 over 5. Therefore, 5y equals root of x plus 2. Therefore, 5y minus 2 equals root of x. Therefore, x equals 5y minus 2 squared. But it isn't x and it isn't y. So g to minus 1 of x equals 5x minus 2. We just called it x and y to make it easier to work out. 5x minus 2 squared. Part B. Solve gf of x equals 3. So, gf of x, we basically need to put the equation for f of x into g. So, gf of x equals the square root of 3x plus 4 plus 2 divided by 5 equals 3. It's the first step, so let's just move this down. Times both sides by 5. So square root of 3x plus 4 plus 2 equals 15. We'll take 2 off of both sides. Square root of 3x plus 4 equals 13. And now we'll square both sides. So 3x plus 4 equals 13 squared, which is 169. 3x, therefore, is 165, meaning x is 55. That's a 5-mark question there. A, B, and D are points on a circle with centre O. CDE is the tangent to the circle at D. Work out the size of angle ADC. Write down any circle theorems that you use. So, angle ADC is this one here, this one we want. And we know from circle theorems that the angle at the centre is twice the angle at the circumference. Circumference. Therefore, we know that this angle here is going to be 32, which is half of your 64, which is at the centre. Therefore, we can work out the angle just here, which we'll call y. So we know 180 minus 32 minus 51 equals y, which equals 97 degrees. We also know that this will be the same angle from circle theorems. So 180 minus 97 minus 64 is going to give us angle Z, which is 180 minus 97 is 180 minus 100, 80 plus 3, 83 minus 64, that's going to be 19 degrees. Then we will scroll down a bit. Therefore, from tangent meeting radius at 90 degrees, circle theorem, we know that x plus z equals 90 degrees, therefore x equals 71 degrees. And that is our answer for ADC. Question 22. ABCDEFGH is a cuboid. AF is 6.8 centimeters, FC is 13.6 centimeters. Work out the size of the angle between FC and the plane ABCD. So, FC and the plane ABCD. So I'm going to draw a nice diagram here. And we've already got that line there, and we'll draw one here, like so. Oh, bad. I knew that was going to happen. I tried to draw a straight line. So we know that AF is 6.8 centimeters, so we're told that in the question. And we know that FC is 13.6 centimeters. So we have basically drawn here a right-angled triangle, which means we can use Pythagoras to work this out. So we have got the hypotenuse. The angle we're talking about is this one here, so this would make this the opposite angle. So opposite and hypotenuse means we're using sine. So sine of the angle x is going to be opposite 6.8 over hypotenuse 13.6. Lo and behold, that's a half. So luckily, as we don't have a calculator in this paper, means x equals 30 degrees. Moving on to question 23. Write 3 root 3 over 4 minus root 3 minus 2 root 3 in the form a root 3 plus b over c, where a, b, and c are integers. Right, well, I noticed that c is an integer on the bottom, so all of these root 3's on the bottom have got to get to the top somehow. So 3 root 3 over 4 minus root 3 minus 2 over root 3. So first things first, I'm going to times everything on the bottom by root 3. Well, times everything on the top and the bottom by root 3. And we'll see how we get for this fraction here. And then for this fraction here, I will times everything on the top and the bottom by 4 minus root 3. So let's say times root 3. I'll do it so its examiner can roughly see what I'm doing here. I'm not just coming up with random numbers. Also, my 3's are not looking like 3's anymore. So 3 root 3 times root 3 is just 3 times 3. Root 3 times 4 is just 4 root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is just 3. It's that one. Minus 2 lots of 4 minus root 3 over the same denominator. Now we can put them all together. So we're going to have 9 minus 8 plus 2 root 3 over 4 root 3 minus 3, which is going to be 1 plus 2 root 3 over 4 root 3 minus 3. And to get rid of this root 3 problem on the bottom, we basically need to just multiply the bottom by 4 root 3 plus 3, as we have 4 root 3 minus 3. So let's times the top and the bottom by 4 root 3 plus 3. 4 root 3 plus 3. And we get, I'm actually just going to write this out one more time on the top so we can focus on the bottom just now. So 4 root 3 times 4 root 3 is going to be 16 times 3. 4 root 3 times positive 3 is going to be 12 root 3. 4 root 3 times negative 3 is going to be negative 12 root 3. And minus 3 times 3 is minus 9. So that is, I've fully expanded these two out and we've multiplied them together. I'll now look at the top at the same time. So 1 times 4 root 3 is 4 root 3. 2 root 3 times 4 root 3 is going to be 8 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And 3 times 2 root 3 is 6 root 3. And the bottom is going to be 48 minus 9. Simplify this out a bit. We're going to get 10 root 3 plus 27 over 39, which is in the format. I'll scroll back up to the top. There's a lot of root 3s flying around in this question. A root 3 plus b over c, where a, b, and c are integers. 10 root 3 plus 27 over 39. And we'll move on to the final question. Question 24. Find the set of possible values of x for which 4x squared minus 25 is less than 0 and 12 minus 5x minus 3x squared is greater than 0. You must show all your working. So what we're going to do here is we're going to draw some graphs. So if we focus on the one on the left first, 4x squared minus 25 is less than 0. We can factorize this into 2x plus 5, and 2x minus 5 is less than 0. And if you multiply this out, you can check. So that would be 4x squared multiplying those two. Then we have a plus 10x minus 10x minus 25. So the two roots of this equation would be x equals 5 over 2 and x equals minus 5 over 2. So if I draw the graph very, very, very roughly, we'll just cross at 2.5 and minus 2.5, and it's going to be looking like this. I'll mark on here 2.5 minus 2.5, and we know that x is going to be in this bit here, so we're going to write down minus 2.5. X is greater than minus 2.5 and x is less than 2.5. As we know, the equation is 4x squared minus 25 is less than 0. So everything under 0, well, I've put it there, but everything under 0 is what we need in our set. The other side, we'll immediately turn this into a positive because it's a bit awkward trying to use minus x's, and we will flip the sign. Then we will factorize this out. So we know that we're going to need a 3x here since we have 3x squared. We know that the two numbers that we have are going to need to multiply together to get minus 12. And we know that when you multiply all the four numbers together, you're going to end up with plus 5x. So what we're going to do is 3x minus 4 and x plus 3 be our factorization. Therefore, the roots of this one are going to be x equals 4 over 3 and x equals minus 3. We'll draw another very, very rough diagram that crosses at 4 over 3 and minus 3. And once again, we know it needs to be less than 0. So once again, it's going to fall into this bit here. So it's going to be, for all values, just trying to save the PDF now, between minus 3 and 4/3. Therefore, we want to satisfy both of these conditions. So minus 2.5 is greater than minus 3. So what we're going to have to do is minus 2.5 so that it satisfies both these conditions. X is greater than that. And anything above 4/3 does not get satisfied by this one. So we need to keep 4/3 in there so that both these equations are satisfied. So our answer is x is between positive 4/3 and negative 2.5. And that concludes the paper. Hopefully this was helpful. As always, any questions, pop them in the comments, and I will catch you next time.